back.
We're back. The Cavalry. Welcome,
The Cavalry. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is try number 2.
Yes, this is. I look at it as a positive. It's exciting. Now we're one of the podcasts that have a lost episode.
Yeah, we have a lost episode. We recorded episode number 42, which is what this will be. 3 or 4 days ago, and I destroyed it on my computer. Somehow I lost it. I'm gonna blame the craziness of the power outage and
Blame COVID. Blame COVID.
The power surge, COVID. Yeah, like all these companies, because COVID related. It's been very. That's what. It's not because I'm stupid
Right.
and deleted it off my computer like a moron. That's not why. It's COVID on top of power outage. It's a difficult time right now.
It's a very hard
so
time.
Please bear with us. But yeah, so this is our second attempt.
And this just goes to show our dedication to the show. Here we are hopping on Sunday nights so that we don't break the streak.
I know.
This is as fresh as it comes.
We are like
Sunday
the
night.
Cal Ripken Jr. of broadcasting.
Oh, I couldn't have said it any better. I don't know who that is. No, he's a baseball player, right?
Yeah. He's a baseball player. I meant that as in we play baseball. No.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very deflating. I don't know if anybody listening to this does a podcast, but it's very deflating
Andrew.
to go to edit it. And it's always like a big I mean I love doing the podcast, but on Sundays it's like kind of my chore thing. It's like, okay, gotta go download it, put it in iMovie in the GarageBand, I'm gonna edit it. It's like my chore. And it's a horrible feeling to realize that you've destroyed our precious art. And okay, I'm going to have to call Johnny and be like, "Hey Johnny, what are you doing tonight? You want to go round 2?" I should have told you it's cuz I didn't like it. I was like, "You know what, Johnny? I listened back to the episode and it does not meet our standards."
Yes. I was not comfortable with the level of quality.
We've got to redo it. So that's what this is. This is a redo. And I think I remember, I was just trying to think if I could remember what we even talked about. What did you need backup on? Do you remember that one?
We can start out with this because I have some pre-show banter that may tie into my topic from the lost episode.
Oh my God. Great.
So my topic was the whole thing of when you're at a house party or whatever, and then someone's like, "Let's go to a bar." And
that's
like,
right.
Why do I want to spend money, go to a bar? That's so stupid. So that was my topic, and so I'm here. I explained to Andrew previously that I may be a little buzzed during the recording of this. We decided to have a Bloody Mary afternoon with my wife and her friend Amber. Shout out to Amber. Long time not listener, and
we love shouting out non-listeners
right
on the program.
So I'll tell her she's on this and maybe she'll listen to it. So I said that was my topic as an example if they had any topics they wanted me to bring to the table for round 2, and they both were like, yeah, that was me in college. I wanted to go to the bar. It's all about change of scenery, which I think is stupid. So that was what I squeaked out with only one topic on our last episode.
Well, I was with you because I'm very much, I like to be able to sit down in any environment wherever I'm at. I'd like to know that there's a seat for me at some point.
That was your big thing.
And if you go to yeah, that's what you're known for. Wanted to take a load off. There goes Andrew. Those dogs are barking, Slater.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and if you go from the house, usually in the house, you got a nice setup. You got like a chair or couch spot, whatever. And then you go to a bar, it's all risk. You don't know. There might be chairs.
And you're paying.
And you're paying.
You're paying. Like, hey, let's go. I know we have 2 cases of free beer, but let's go pay an exorbitant overcharged amount for.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like Bloody Marys?
I do.
You do? Interesting.
I do. Do you not?
Well, I went, I never had them in college or whatever. It was always like cheap beer or whatever, And then
it sounded like that was going to be a sad story. No one ever offered them to me.
No. Yeah. Well, no one did. I guess looking back, no one did, but I also don't feel like I missed out on it or whatever. But then, like, after college, I did have a friend who was very much into Bloody Marys and tried to get me into them, and I could only drink like half of one, and it was like it's like too much stuff besides the alcohol, you know.
The cheese sticks,
Tomato
the meat
juice,
sticks,
and
the
the cheese,
pickles.
yeah, and the pretzels and the all that stuff. It's like it became too much of a. But you do like them.
I don't have them very often. I haven't had one in probably, I don't know, maybe 2 years or over a year. But
What were the accoutrements in these ones?
So I'm assuming that means the things that went in it.
Yeah, the shit on top of it.
Oh, that was just cheese stick, meat stick, celery, which I got rid of the celery. You know that, and
yeah.
and then olives. I love olives, but she got pre-stuffed olives, and I hate blue cheese. So I had one olive, and I had to not have any more. I was
Yeah, I wouldn't like. I don't think I'd like any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Celery though, it's pretty good.
If you say so.
So we've been dealing with like I said, part of the reason why one of the things I'm blaming the podcast going out on is power outage in Portland here, and then we had not only was the power out, then the power surged. And
I was going to text you about that, and I didn't to find out the verdict.
That's always a caring friend thing to say. Oh, I was going to check up on you, and then I did not. I was going to ask if you were shivering in the dark, but then it was Bloody Mary time. So no. So I'll give you the damage. We actually got lucky. So every house on our street, there was a power surge when the power went out, and it burned out their appliances like the furnace, the hot water tank. So even when the power came back on, it's like you had nothing because everything was broken now. Even worse, you're going to have to go through the home insurance and make a claim with the power company. Yeah. We appear to have gotten lucky, like just a few things, or like one TV and a bank of outlets in the kitchen, a couple lights, but nothing too major.
So you had a TV get?
Yeah, I did have one TV go. Yeah, I think in the bed. We have an electrician coming on Monday. But this leads me to my topic. Oh, and by the way, the power went out. Are you prepared for like disaster? I've seen your house now. Spoiler alert. And I don't know why
the promo's out there. The promo's been out there.
Who's that spoiling? Yeah, if you've seen the promo, you know I've seen Johnny's house now. It's a beautiful house in a beautiful street. But are you prepared for like the worst? Do you have like the earthquake? Probably not earthquake kit, but like, you know, the disaster kit and the flashlights and the batteries.
Canned foods. That's it. Canned foods, couple batteries, but they're not batteries. Okay. Flashlights, couple flashlights, not a lot of batteries.
It opened my eyes to my unpreparedness to disaster. We have nothing. What we had was a couple candles, and they were all reject scented ones. So they were like the ones we didn't like the smell of. So to survive, we had to like smell this shitty pumpkin candle. I'm always going to associate that pumpkin smell with shivering in the dark. But
yeah.
So here's what I need backup on though, because for this episode.
Wait, but before you say your topic, so you had to go by candlelight. Did you have no power for a while?
Yeah. So the first night we had no power, or we didn't have power for like 3 or 4 nights. But then, I had to go to Milwaukee to do a college show, and my wife and daughter, I had them go up to Seattle and stay with my parents. But so we spent one night in the dark in the morning, and then we thought the power might come on the next day. We weren't sure, but we didn't want to risk it with me being gone and them having to pack up everything by themselves. So I just packed them up, and we took me to the airport, and they went to Seattle and waited it out until Friday of last week. So, but yeah, so it kind of worked for us. I mean, it wasn't too bad, considering how bad it could have been. So, but here's what I need backup on. All right. So everybody with what's going on in Texas too, everybody kind of said the same thing. Like, it really, when you lose water, you lose power, you take that stuff for granted. And now I'm not going to take that for granted anymore to have electricity or to have heat. And it's like, I am going to continue to take that for granted. That should be like one of the very few things in life I can just go, look, we're a society. We have lots of resources. I should just be able to take it for granted that when you turn on a light switch, the light comes on. I don't want to have to say a thankful prayer every time I turn up the thermostat and the heat goes up.
Yes.
That's what I've
totally
earned
agree.
that as a lazy American.
No, well, then I am too, because I totally agree. You shouldn't have a a terrible thing happen and they'd be like, oh, I need to alter my reality and realize
Right.
we live in a shitty world and just count on it being shitty from here on forward. No. You should be like, that was a mess up. Someone should fix that so we can get back to flipping switches and water.
And I've grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle around here. And why is that the response? Like, people are like, oh, you should really be thankful now that you have water and power. It's like, shouldn't we, if we're going to make progress as a society, shouldn't we go the other way? Like, hey, we better not fuck up so bad again where we lose electricity and water for like an entire state. Like, let's make improvements so that those people can take it for granted. We should take more stuff for granted, and that would like hold more people accountable or something. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. I totally agree. And
Okay,
it actually makes me think of when people are saying, oh, it could always be worse. It could be always. I hate that. It could always be worse. It could always be worse for literally everyone on the planet except for one guy,
Yeah. There's only one guy.
There's
who's
only
got
one
it
guy
the
that's the shittiest of all the shittiness. And we're going to just keep saying, well, it's better than, No.
Yeah.
We got to
And that
progress.
sucks. That's a sucky thing, too, because eventually someone's going to say it could always be worse to the person who it can't be worse. And then that's very insensitive. To go to the worst person in the world and go, hey, it could always be worse. It's like, nah, man, I did the math. It can't. It literally cannot be worse for me. I've looked into it. The guy bet me. We Googled it. I am the worst off in the world.
We Googled it. No one has it shittier than me.
Right.
Yeah, what do you say to him?
It's got to get better. It can only get better. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ugh.
it can't get any worse. That's it.
But it can. Even if
Yeah.
you're the shittiest, if you have the shittiest life, you can always have a shittier life.
Right. And that's what you should be thankful for. Because even if you have it the worst, you could still have it worse.
That's
you
right.
could go lower. So that's, yeah. So maybe that's what
People
you
say it could always be worse. Well, it could always be better too.
Right.
Why are we focusing on the negative? We should be
Thank
focusing
you.
on the positive and say it could be better.
Rewire people's brains to expect better,
Oh, thank you.
not just be thankful for everything all the Ooh.
Thank you.
It's like meditation and yoga. Breathe. Thank goodness for the air. It's like, no, I'm not going to go around thanking the air all the time. I'm just going to expect the air to be good, and then I
Yeah.
can breathe it.
I don't have time for this shit. Yeah. Totally agree.
Totally agree. Okay, good. I thought you'd back me up on that one. I had a feeling.
Of course.
And then I wanted. Okay, so what were I forget what my topics were last time. I just want to say them quickly so that
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
You had
Isn't that
two?
awful? I had two too. Yeah, it might
Oh,
come to me
boy.
later.
Maybe
See, it's a
maybe
total lost episode.
So what do you do when you are a little peek behind the curtain here for our listeners? What do you do when you get a topic? Do you write it down or put it in your phone? See, I knew mine because I have a note in my phone. It says topics we've used and then new topics.
Yeah, so I usually mine from I will write them down as notes on my phone. So I probably, if you would permit me, if I looked at my phone, I bet I could figure it out.
Sure.
This is great radio.
Well, here, while you're looking it up, I'll go into what I was going to say.
Okay.
I had what is it? Bloody Mary afternoon with it was our girls' night out, me and my wife and her friend, and so I went for a run. I came back just at the start. I thought that her husband was going to be there. BJ was supposed to be there, and he wasn't. And I thought, oh, he's just coming later. And they're like, hey. So her name's Amber. She was like, hey, or Aaron texted me. It was like, there is a bottle of open red wine at Amber's house, which is, just on the block behind ours. can you stop by and bring it? So I get home, and they're like, did you get my text? And I did, but I ignored it. So so I get home, and they're like, hey, can you go get that?
Shout out Amber, long time not listener.
Shout out to Amber. So I get home, and they're like, oh, can you go get that red wine? I was like, hey, whatever. I'm all sweaty and, just did a run. Sure, that'll feel good. So I walk, and I go get it. And he answers the door, gives me the bottle of wine. They gave him the heads up. Johnny's coming. Give him the open bottle of wine. So I'm walking back. Got this open bottle of red wine. I'm, ready for. I'm ready for Bloody Marys. So I get back and I give it to them. They're like, all right, whatever, thanks. They're like, thanks, bitch. And so then we have our first one. And then they, who are not smokers, they're the smokers when they drink. So they're like, yeah,
sure.
My gosh, I could go for a cigarette. Oh my gosh, let's have a cigarette. And every time my wife has one, she's like, she comes home and she's like, oh, I had a cigarette. I wish I didn't. It was terrible. Now I feel terrible. So they're like, oh my gosh, I wish we had cigarettes. Johnny, can you go to Amber's house? She has a pack. And I said no. I said, I am not. I said, this is not. I just stood my ground. I said, I'm not.
Good for you.
An errand boy. I felt bad. I was like, you know what? I could be chivalrous. And they're like, oh my gosh, we will be so thankful. And I was like, no, you won't. No, as soon as I get back with the smokes, they'll be like, oh my God, Johnny, the lighter is on my night. Can you go back to Amber's? The lighter is on her nightstand.
I love how Amber is like a 7-Eleven. She's got everything in her
she's
house.
got it all.
Where was this house you were hanging out at that had nothing? No wine,
that was my home.
Oh.
Whoops. No, we have plenty of lighters. I was using that as an example just to
you
prove.
You couldn't ask.
We don't have cigarettes.
You had a pack no.
We just didn't have cigarettes. We had the vodka. We had all the accoutrements for
bloody.
Oh,
look who was slow rolling.
That's a word I picked up a little bit ago. And they, they wanted me to go get the smokes, and I said, not
well, here I'll back you up because I hate smoking. I hate the smell of it. I hate being around it. I hate when people shake your hand after smoking, and then you get the sweaty palm cigarette hand for the rest of your life. Like it takes 3 washes to get it off. I hate it all, and it's bad for you, of course. So I think not only are you in your rights to go, hey, I made one trip, now I'm relaxed, I don't want to make any more trips. If somebody else wants to go to Amber's house, that's fine, but I'm out for the evening. But also, when it's for cigarettes, you have like the moral high ground because you can go, hey, no, I don't want you guys to smoke,
Yeah.
It's bad for you. I'm not going to aid. If you want to smoke, you got to get your own cigarettes. I'm not going to be the one to aid and abet this habit.
That's right, because that's exactly what I said, and I even offered them my chewing tobacco as a substitute.
Wow, you sacrificed a little bit of the moral high ground.
Do you guys want
to hey, look, I can't support you guys smoking cigarettes. I do have a little bit of heroin left. If that'll take the edge off, I'm happy to go upstairs and get you that, but I'm not going to go get you that poison.
Right, watch you ruin your lungs.
Yeah.
I'm a hero.
No, I back you up because, like I said, I think I may have even been in that exact predicament before where people have asked me to go buy them cigarettes or go because I had a car or whatever, and I've said no on those very grounds, mostly because I was lazy and I didn't want to do it, but I used the excuse of the non-smoking PSA or whatever. So, yeah, I'm with you. Don't smoke, kids.
Good.
Shout out, Amber.
Shout out.
Thanks for not listening.
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, I quickly looked at my phone. I remembered one of my topics, which is great because I also saw a note for a new topic, and it's shockingly similar to the one that I already did. So we'll just roll it into.
Okay.
So there's a couple, now it's about the movies last time, remember? And I was talking about how there's they create unrealistic expectations for how long you should be able to hold your breath underwater in the movies. Like every TV show, movie, like people are like down there solving crossword puzzles and stuff. Like
Yes.
Come on, it's 60 seconds. Everybody knows you got 60 seconds. You start to panic. Okay, underwater. So forget it with these. So that's one thing that they.
Oh my gosh, we had that whole side tangent on Tom Cruise. We got to find this lost episode.
Oh yeah, because in Mission Impossible. Oh, that's right. Because then in Mission Impossible, one of them he swims around. He's underwater forever, and then we're like,
that's the
there's
least
like 7
exciting
Mission
stunt
Impossibles.
you can do.
Right, and it's like let me just hold my next one. He'll be doing magic tricks or something. But just trust us, everybody. It was funny. Okay.
It was hilarious.
And then they've done so many Mission Impossible movies. They should call it Mission
Most likely.
Because they win every time. It's impossible. They are able to do it. So now it's pretty likely.
That's 7 possible missions.
Yeah,
they've had.
That's like hitting the jackpot 7 times in a row. It's
Right.
starting to get suspicious.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's another one. In the movies. What they set up unrealistic expectations for. Body image? No. People who can whistle with their fingers in their mouth. You know, in that really loud whistle.
Right.
I can't even do it, but, the really loud horse whistle with the 2 fingers. In the movies, everybody can do that. Every character you've ever seen in any movie, all of a sudden they whip that out. Woo, and you're like, why can't I know maybe one person in my life who can actually do that effectively. Can you do that, Johnny? Don't ruin me here.
I cannot do that. I have literally spent every baseball game I've ever been to trying the entirety of. That's like my thing. Like, okay, this is a stupid sport. I'm going to try to teach myself because my dad could do it louder than anyone.
Oh, okay.
Gave me ear damage, just whipping it out of nowhere. But I totally agree. It's a
very
small percentage of people can do it.
Very small, very tiny. I'd say 1 in 100.
I can't even whistle blowing out. I can only go.
Oh, okay.
Sucking in, but blowing out, it's all nothing.
I can do both. I can go in and out, but I cannot do the fingers.
Okay.
And I know very, very few people who can. Also, but your dad could. You must have been a giant disappointment to your father.
I think so. Well, for other reasons, but we don't need to get into that in this episode.
Oh, okay. Not that kind of podcast. Yeah. So anyway, that was my previous. So I just mentioned that quickly because it occurred to me.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Everybody in the movies can do that, and I bet they're faking it. Not all these actors. Know
of
how
course
to do
they
that.
are.
Do you think Tom Cruise does his own whistling and everything? I know he does his own stunts, but is he doing his own whistling?
That's gonna be the big behind the scenes of Part 8. Tom Cruise. He dangled off of that super tall building. He held his breath for 6 minutes, and now he does the finger whistle. With no voice.
It took him 3.5 years to master it, and that's what made it. You waited for this movie. He's now 74 years old, still doing secret agent movies, but it was worth it, so he could whistle, and we didn't have to use CGI.
Mission Impossible 8. Ethan whistles. Of course, yeah. So I'm with you, totally.
Yeah, I knew you would be. Come on,
piece of cake. Come on. We're on what, episode 42? Of course.
I mean, who are we kidding?
We're not fucking around here.
Episode 42B, the
That's
emergency
right. That's right.
re-recording, because Andrew's a moron. Well, buddy, any more backup, or do you need to?
Do I need to go throw up in the toilet? No, I'm good. I just have a light buzz. I wouldn't even say I'm drunk. If we had recorded maybe an hour and a half ago, might have been different. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. This is another one I needed to back up on. Okay.
Okay.
Pretty sure you're gonna back me up, but we'll see. You go to a movie. Okay, this is back in the olden days. Remember going to movies and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
You go to movies, and you go to a movie. You're on the road. You go to a movie, right? You got all day. Movie's done. Well, I'll just go into this movie now. That's totally legit and expected, right? That's not wrong. That's not morally wrong. That's not stealing. That's part of.
Well, and also, like, okay, I've only done that a couple of times, not out of any moral conundrum, but because it rarely lines up the way I need it to. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're the one movie you want to see, and then the other one that you want to see. like it almost never works out to where it's the other one starting when the one you just saw ended. Usually you're walking in halfway.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
like
sometimes you do have to watch another movie for a half hour before the one, a
yeah.
middle movie before you go to your second movie.
I would put it on par with sneaking in snacks. And in fact, I bet if you asked a movie theater when they were still a viable business,
Yes.
they would tell you, we would rather you buy our snacks and then just hop in between movies 2 or 3 times than sneak in your own, peanut butter and jelly sandwich and Diet Coke or whatever and not buy our snack. Because I think they make way more money at the snack counter than they do at the ticket booth.
Totally.
My little brother worked in the movie business, and he
in the movie business.
Yeah.
Let me clarify, movie theater business.
Yeah, movie theater business. This was his first job or whatever, and I think he told me that they do a lot of numbers on soda and stuff. So I think they would much rather you. So most people are totally fine with sneaking candy and food into the movie. Like even a nun I think would do that, But
right.
Then you're right. That thing is a little more frowned upon by society, but I agree. I think it's actually the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, when you do that, the second movie never gets rave reviews. You're never walking out of the second one like, that was a good film.
Right.
You always walk out of it like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I have been sitting for 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, movies do start to lose their magic when you're like on your fifth
you're
hour.
Binging movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is funny too, because I'll watch 5-6 hours of TV, with no question about it. But yeah, if you sit in a movie theater for 6 hours, you feel like a piece of shit for some reason. So, what's wrong there? But yeah, I would say. Who's telling you that that's wrong, by the way? Do you have people who've said...
That's my comedian buddy. He's always getting on the moral high ground.
Oh, because they're artists too, or whatever.
But you've pointed out, he's like, oh, your brother's an actor, and, isn't that a betrayal? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
sure
because we're in the selling tickets business, or at least we used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And... would we, if someone snuck in from the early show to the late show, are we are we like getting pissed off about that for a second? It doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean?
No, but that does remind me of when sometimes they're like, yeah, the numbers were so light, so everyone is going to stay over. And you're like, hey, I only do one show, okay? I'm only doing one show. If these morons want to see it again, nobody's sneaking from Monsters, Inc. into a later showing of Monsters, Inc. after seeing it.
Yeah, that's right. Because if you offered Monster Inc., you could tell people, hey, we didn't sell a lot of tickets to the 10 o'clock Monsters Inc., so anybody who wants to stay and watch Monsters Inc. again, you'd be a giant loser if you did, but we would love it if you did because it would feel more full in here.
Oh, yeah, that's where my mind's at. That was my go-to movie. Let's see, What's a movie? Monsters Inc.
Has that happened to you where, like, because you have 3 kids, have you seen now, like, way more, you've seen, like, all the cartoons, right? Do you sit down and watch them, or do you just let your kids watch them?
Well, yeah, we have Disney Plus, so yeah. Frozen 2, I've seen so many times, and I still don't understand. I think you haven't seen
that like a David Lynch movie or something?
Well, the first one, when we saw it in the theater, I fell asleep, so, whatever. But I've seen it since, not all the way through, but now I have seen every part of the movie at some point. And I kind of get it, but it's not. It's very
still
weird.
Not
My wife's seen it
tough.
a bunch of times. She doesn't get it either.
Maybe you need the captions on. Do you watch with the captions on?
No, I understand the words. That's not the problem. It's the plot and the whole story is.
Well, interesting.
Good songs. Good songs.
I'm kind of excited to like revisit some of the, like when Ginger gets older, to revisit some of the old ones that I liked. I don't want to watch the new Disney movies.
What are you looking forward to revisiting?
Like the Looney Tunes stuff, like all the old Looney Tunes cartoons. I love those when I was a kid. Like the Jungle Book, like just all the Disney movies I liked
Dumbo.
Dumbo. Oh my God, love Dumbo.
I will tell you this: it's a small window. As Ginger grows up, like you'd think, oh, I'll just push her in the direction of things that I enjoyed with my childhood, but like somehow they figure out what else is out there.
No, because these companies, these Disney, like better, they're smarter. You know, they've learned over the years, so like everything's targeted more at like grabbing their brains early.
Yeah.
So there's something about Elsa that they figured out in Frozen. They're like, we know how to make her like speak directly into their little minds, you know. So you can't compete with like Snow White. Snow White has no chance, you know. It's all grainy, whatever. Story's slower.
Yeah. The credits were at the beginning of the movie. Ugh.
Oh yeah, who's making it through that?
I know exactly.
I watched.
We put on Cinderella. My daughter's like, I'm bored. It hasn't even started yet.
Oh my God! Actually, that reminds me of something because I was on the plane and I was gonna watch Lawrence of Arabia because I'd never really seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
But you're right. The credit.
6-hour movie.
Yeah, it's so long, but it was like great because it was like a 4.5-hour flight from Milwaukee to Seattle, and so I was like, I'll watch this. And I barely made it through the credits. The credits at the beginning, it's such a mistake. I don't know when Hollywood figured that out to put the credits at the end. But as you're sitting there and it's this song and then all these names are like second art unit director. And you're like, this guy made it at the beginning of the movie, you know? They're like the caterer. But okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you this, but I was on, so I don't know if I need backup. I don't need backup on this. It's just a funny story. So I was on the plane back to from Milwaukee to Seattle, and then I was gonna get on I had a connection in Seattle, come back to Portland, and I'm sitting there on the flight. I had nobody next to me, which was great with COVID and everything. So I looked out the window and I see the luggage guys are right underneath me, and they're like driving a little cart to load the luggage up, and there's a little bit of snow out there. And this guy, it was like his first time driving in the snow. I mean, it was Milwaukee, so you'd think they would have been like prepared. But this guy was just just reversing. And then it was like, you know, when you have a hitch, like a trailer, and you're trying to reverse and you're turning the wrong way and it's going the wrong way. Like that, he could not figure it out to save his life. And it was like Austin Powers, where it was like, and he could not get it to go anywhere. And the plane was now delayed because this guy just couldn't get the bags close enough to the conveyor belt. Like literally, they made an announcement. They're like, and the pilot was like covering for him. He's like, yeah, it's a little icy out there, so our guys are having some problems. Like, it's not icy. I can see. This dude just can't find reverse on this thing. And
if you look out your window on the right, you'll see a moron trying to.
I know. And I mean, I'm sure it's a tough job. I don't want to shit on the guy, but like, Jesus. So then he gets frustrated. So he drives in a huge circle, right? And he can't reverse it in, so he's just gonna drive all the way around. It's like something I would do if I was like trailer. I had a boat behind me or something. I was like, oh, fuck this, and then go all the way around the block. So he drives all the way around the block, so to speak, and he starts coming back, but he's coming back fast. like I'm like, whoa, this guy's moving. He's like frustrated, and he's gonna go to he can't figure out the first conveyor belt, so he's gonna go to that conveyor belt in the back. And I see him, and he's gonna go under the wing. This guy, he hits like, you know, in Mario Kart where you hit the little speed with the arrows on it. Yeah. He hits one of those, and he just goes bam into the side of the wing in the plane, and the plane shakes. It's like poosh, it's like turbulence, you know. But we're on the ground, and so then the pilot makes an announcement like, "Hey, so we had a little bit of a fender bender up there with the baggage cart, and we're gonna have to inspect it for damage, you know." And so the plane was delayed like 4 hours while they unscrew the side of the wing to make sure that it could still fly.
Oh, God.
And then we took off.
Poor guy.
Yeah, no, I do feel they probably yelled at him pretty good, and now I'm making fun of him. But it was just frustrating. And then, but the pilot was kind of bullshitting too, because he was like, it was a little scary because he was like, yeah, he did some damage, but he didn't really hit the wing. So he said just some cosmetic damage. So we're just like those kids in college driving around in a busted up Subaru, but made it home safe and missed my connection. But
I thought
I
you were
ended
going
up
to drive back with them from Seattle anyway.
exactly, so it worked out perfect.
Oh, so did you just leave when they were like?
I just didn't even get on that plane. Do you feel? Have you ever done that before? Do you ever feel responsibility to tell the airline or the airport, like I'm not going to be on, or do you just go? I've done that like 3 times in similar situations, and I just Irish exit. I just go, I'll figure it out. I don't think they're going to wait for me anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever waited for anyone in the history of air travel.
Right. So I guess I don't. I do wonder if they think like, I wonder what happened to Andrew. Normally we have customers coming up here yelling at us, asking when their next flight is. Andrew just disappeared.
If they're worried about you, then they probably don't sleep at all, worrying about all the people.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, not to throw anybody under the bus. I know these tough jobs out there, but it's Milwaukee. Get some, let's get ready for the snow next year. Okay, it's coming. Let me just
every year.
Spoiler alert.
So did you watch Ben-Hur, or what was it? Lawrence of Arabia?
Lawrence of Arabia, I watched the first half, and then I don't know. It felt like work. And then by then I got into it, and then...
It's not a good review.
No, I know.
Felt like
let me tell you something.
I stopped halfway through, but it was a good movie.
I like just anything where you have to like endure the environment. So like desert island movies, or like this one, Crossing the Desert. Anything where you got to cross a desert, I'm in. Like that's the part I liked of the movie. I love when they're just like almost out of water, about to die, and then they get to the water and they're like, "Ah, man, that would be great. Have a nice glass of water after all that." Like in Castaway, when the first time he gets his coconut open or whatever. I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah.
So make more of that, Hollywood, and maybe I'll pay to see your movies once in a while.
Yeah. I'll still sneak into them, but
have you?
That's the thing is I don't sneak in from scratch. I pay for a ticket. I feel like it's an unspoken rule we have that it's like, here's your general admission to this theater.
Yeah.
Have fun.
It's one of the perks of being alive.
Right. Yeah, dead people don't get to do that.
Yeah, there's not that many perks anymore, so that's just one of them. You can go to 2 movies.
Have you guys ever rented a $20 rental new release?
I was just about to ask you the same question. Maybe it was obvious because of where this conversation was going, but I was just about we have not done it. I cannot bring myself, even though it's like cheaper than going to the movies. I don't know what's stopping me, but it feels like such. I wanted to watch this Tom Hanks movie where it's like a Western or something. It was like $20, and I just couldn't bring myself to pay for it. And part of it is Heidi always gives me shit because she'll always find some old movie. Like we get every goddamn streaming service channel, but she'll find the one on Amazon that we got to pay $3.99 to rent it. I'm like, can't we just pick of all the ones we haven't seen that are on the free ones? But then how am I going to go to her and be like, let's spend $20 on this?
Yeah.
So I've kind of painted myself into a corner.
My brother, they rented Barb and Star. Go to.
Oh, I want to see that.
And I want to see that really bad. They rented it, and he was like, "Oh, is it good?" He's like, "Yeah, we watched. Well, last day we watched the first. We watched most of it, but we loved it. But 20 minutes late, we realized or 20 minutes till the end, we realized it was pretty late. So we'll just finish it tomorrow." And then the next day, they're like, "Oh, we're tired. Let's just finish it tomorrow." And they forgot. You only have it for one day. So they saw this movie, they loved it, and they never got to see the end because
and then there's no way you can spend another 20.
Yeah.
Oh, disaster. That happens every time, by the way. If you pay for a movie and you don't finish it that night, forget it. It's lost. Because we've done that 100 times with the $3.99 ones.
But Amber rented the same one.
Shout out to Amber.
Yeah. Shout out to Amber, who will never hear this. And for Barb and Star or whatever, and she offered to give us her password because she rented it on Amazon, so we could log into her Amazon and watch it maybe. So maybe we'll do that tonight after we record this.
You continue to find a way to stick it to Hollywood. You're not going to let a little pandemic stop you.
That's right.
Well, tell me how it is. I'm going to wait for it to come out on... well, I guess it's already out on video. Yeah, Red Box.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another reason. Like that movie, what was it? The Kevin Bacon. I can't remember what it was. It ended up not being a good movie. It was like a horror movie. Or you should have left. That's what it was called. Do you remember that?
I know.
Like 6 months ago, it was one of those ones like theatrical release. You can see it the same day. And I was like, oh, I really want to. It looks really good. The trailer makes it looks good. And I was like, I'm just gonna wait, because then you wait a month and a half, and all of a sudden you can own it for the same price you could have rented it. This one, as soon as it was out, as soon as you could buy it, it was cheaper. It was $14. Like it didn't do well. It was $14.99. And so I was like, oh, all right. So then I got it, and I was like, oh, I'm never gonna watch that again. So I saved by $5, and now I own it.
Take that.
Take that, Hollywood.
Yeah, well, guess what's free? This podcast, everybody.
That's right.
So, how about that? You guys are all stealing from us. Everyone listen to
get
this.
it while you can, because it might not be free forever.
We're gonna jack up the price.
Yeah.
I feel it coming. We're gonna make it premium pretty soon.
I'm gonna jack off.
Okay, time for Johnny to go to bed, everybody. Thanks for listening. Leave a 5-star review and a comment on what you need back up on your life. A lot of people have left comments lately and just 5-star reviews and nice things, which is great.
We love the, oh, you guys are so handsome. Oh my God, you guys are sexy. Are you guys really married? We want to blow you. We need things to talk about.
Yeah, that's not good enough. Come on, you need something back up on something in your life, so go ahead and say it in the comments. And you can subscribe on YouTube. There's all sorts of ways to watch it, all sorts of listening platforms, so make sure you do that.
A shout out that Amber got.
Shout out to Amber, non-listener. Number 1 non-listener. Amber. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. To
the Cavalry.